Okay guys, I am gonna be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and share this in the group as well from my computer. So if you're coming in and you're seeing what's going on the screen, just say hello and let us know where you're from. It is our Friday Night Live, and tonight we're going to be painting this dairy farm. We're going to be doing a PVPP. Hey Karen, how are you doing? Hello Tina. Guys, if y'all are coming in, just say hi. Let me know where you're watching from tonight. So, this little sign that we're doing tonight, let me just pick up my camera to show you guys. It just says dairy farm, where heaven is a little closer. This board that I have it going on is 16 inches by 24 inches. Hey Bethany, how are you doing? I'm gonna try to say hello to everybody. Hi Brenda. And what I've done is the board was stained, and then I painted black paint on top of the stain. I wanna apologize in advance because all my nephews are here, and Mason, they're playing video games upstairs, so it might be a little bit loud. But I painted it black, and then I took my little sanding pad, which is over here. It's just a fine sander, and I sanded it down really good and wiped it off so that brown kind of peeks through. So that's gonna be our word color whenever we're done. The actual sign will be white and this will be in the background. But we're gonna place our stencil on top of this. The paint that I use for the black is this Olympic Assure. It's interior paint and primer. It's a flat paint. It's not that expensive, and I bought it from Lowe's. So I always use that from the back or for the words, and then I'll use my Wise Owl for the top. Or if I'm stenciling, I like to use the Wise Owl for stenciling because it's thicker and it doesn't bleed as much. So, hello Janelle. Hey Becky. Hi Christy. Guys, if y'all have anybody that would like to see this tutorial, just let them know that it's going on. So the first thing that we're gonna do, I already have the design cut, and of course I weeded it, and I have it on my transfer paper. So you want to line it up on your sign, and then if you have painter's tape, I like to use it just to make sure that I get everything straight on here. So you can use, of course, like a measuring tape to make sure that everything is even and centered, or you can just eyeball it either way. But you will want to make sure, because I had to cut this in 2 separate pieces because it was thicker than the mat, make sure that they'll both fit. So then what you can do is just take your painter's tape and put it right down the middle of your design, like this. Which actually, I think I need it to just move just a little bit this direction. And then what we'll do is we'll pull up one side at a time. I want to make sure that you guys can see. How is y'all's weather where you are? We're in Texas. I'm outside of Dallas, Texas in Cattle Mills. And it is so hot, guys. And I feel like the heat just makes you so tired. Okay. And like if a piece doesn't come up, just kind of push on it and it should follow. But it is easier whenever you're peeling the backing from the stencil rather than vice versa. Okay. And then just get about that much up, and what you'll do is you'll grab your scissors, which my kids ran off with my good scissors, so I'm using these little tiny baby scissors. I'm going to show y'all in just a minute some of the things I like to have close by whenever I'm making a sign. And then you'll just take this side right here, and you're going to put it down on your board. Then you can remove this tape. We'll save it because we're going to use it again in just a second. That way we can cut down on waste. And then flip this over, and the same thing, try to peel up the paper from the stencil rather than the other way around. It makes it a little bit easier. I wanted to tell you guys why I had you in here too. If you're in the group, We have a couple of giveaways going on right now, and I put them up in the announcement section. That way it's just easier to find them. One of them is for a bundle that is from Design Bundles, and the other one is for 3 of any of the files that are in my shop. So check those out if you guys want to win something for free, because we like free. Kind of helps us for saving up for the things that we want to buy and just with business expenses and such. Okay, so then we're just going to peel this off. And what I like to do is like push down with my fingers and roll. I'm going to check and see if any of you guys have any questions right now. Hello, Donna. Lynn. Say hi. Did someone say that it's cold somewhere? I think I just read that it was cold somewhere. I asked everybody the other day if they preferred hot or cold weather, and I'm horrible, but I prefer cold because you can always put on more clothes to get warm, but you can only take off so many clothes whenever you're hot, so. Okay, so the transfer tape that I'm using is Transfer Right 582U, and you can reuse it if you want to. If you're able to just save this piece and put it somewhere, you'll be able to use it again. But the roll is really not that expensive, so even if you use it as like a one-time use, not that big of a deal. So I'm just making sure that everything's pushed down good, which it is. And then I'm gonna place this on here. And I'm gonna take just a second to show you guys some of the stuff that I like to have close by when I'm making signs. So, of course, paintbrushes. I love these Klingon paintbrushes, the S50. They're out of stock everywhere right now. These right here work great too, but if you're gonna use these, just make sure if it's brand new that you pull at it before you use it, because that way if there's any loose hairs or anything in there, you'll get them out before you start painting so you don't get it all over your painting. If you're wanting to leave some of the color in the background and you're not using like a chalk type paint, you're just using acrylic paints, you can use like a petroleum jelly, and what you can do is just paint it on before you paint your top color, and then when you're done it will just wipe off and it will show your color that's in the background. I like these little Bondo spreaders that I use for, you know, adhering my vinyl and such. Of course, painter's tape, scissors, tweezers, or something to pull up your design when you're done. A blow dryer if you're in a hurry so you can get it painted and go out the door, and my sander. And if there's anything else that you guys normally use, let us know. Yeah, it's Vaseline. It's like Target brand petroleum jelly, but it's the same thing as Vaseline. Okay, so now we're gonna put our words at the bottom. Make sure you guys can still see. And I normally use a trash bag on my counter, but today I actually bought a roll of painter's, you know, protector tape, whatever, from Walmart, and cut it up and put it on here, which is kind of nice because it is thicker than the trash bag. So if I'm using the water bottle and painting, I don't have to worry about it getting everywhere. So do you see that we are just pulling, and that little piece is coming up right there? So you just press it down again. A lot of times if you're having the vinyl come up with your paper, you may have cut too deep. So I may have had my thickness set a little bit too deep, and you can tell that kind of. I don't know because the lighting's not so great. You can kind of see like the outline of where the design was, so it may have just cut just a little too deep, which is why it's catching. But it's not that big of a deal. We're gonna put that part down. And then just flip this part over. Pull it up slowly. Are you guys planning any fun vacations for summer, like going anywhere out of town or out of country? We're gonna go to the river. I've never been to the river before, but we're gonna go float the river, so it's kind of exciting. I'm a little bit scared because water is not like my favorite thing, but I think it's the Como River or something. If any of you guys have ever been there. you can give me some tips and tricks or some places to go visit while we're over there in that part of the world. Okay, so we're just pulling this part up right here. My little pieces coming. And like the font on this one, Heaven is a little closer. It's really a fine font. So if for some reason you get a file, when I made this one, I made it for a bigger sign. But if you get a file that the font is really fine, you can always do an offset on it to make it just a little bit thicker if you don't want to bother with these little bitty wispy pieces. And I can show you guys how to do that in the group when you're using the silhouettes. Maybe tomorrow I could just, or there's probably a video already that I can just bump up to the top or tag. Okay, Comal River. You're so smart. Yes, I think that's what it is. I have an electric sander, but this is just a sanding block. This is a fine sanding block, and I use it a lot when I'm done painting, and I'll show you guys as I get more towards the end. But I love having this just right here, easy to access as I'm doing stuff. Let me see if there's any other questions before we keep going on. Okay, so I told you guys that we painted the background black and it was stained before, so I have some of the brown showing through a little bit. And what we're gonna do now is take this Olympic Assure. I think I just saw a question about using this procedure on canvas. I haven't. I wouldn't mind trying it because you guys know I like trying things even if I fail at whatever I'm trying. But I definitely would need, with the canvas, because you know how it, it's so flexible, it's not hard like this. We would need something really hard underneath the whole canvas to keep it steady if we were gonna try to do this. Where is, let me get a little popper for my paint top. That's the other thing I like to keep close is a butter knife, because I probably should have a better tool, but that's how I always pop open my cans of paint. And I wanted to try something kind of fun today too, because I did this last time on accident. I had some glitter that was in my paint, and I painted it in the background, but it kind of came through the top of the sign. It was really pretty, so I think I might do that today. Like, we'll just paint black. Now, when you're doing this second coat of black, all it's doing is keeping, if the sign's gonna bleed, the black will bleed underneath your stencil. So that's why we're putting on the second coat of black. You don't have to put it over the whole entire sign again. You only need it over where your stencil's sitting. Because the only purpose of this little coat is just to make sure that it's gonna keep your letters nice and crisp and clean. So there's no reason to paint the whole entire board. And then we'll do it down here on our little tiny letters. And then what do you guys think? Should we add a little bit of glitter and see if it comes through to the top, or should we just do black and white? We'll have a little vote. See what you guys think. I don't think that it would be like really glittery. It would just be a real, like a hint of shimmer, because we're not gonna put it on the top layer. It will just kind of come through. Let's see, no glitter. I know glitter's horrible, guys. It was a total accident, but it did look kind of cool. Okay, the stencil is made out of 813. And Bethany, no, I'm not afraid that the vinyl is gonna pop up while I'm painting. We made sure that it was down really, really good, so I don't think that we would have any problem with the vinyl popping up. For this particular sign, just because it's more of like a farmhouse sign, we won't do the glitter on this, but maybe we'll do, I have another one that I know, Biggie, no glitter on a cow. I have another design that I did, so we'll paint it, and it's like a moonshine sign. It's really fun, and some of the people that did in my test painting group, they put glitter on it. It was so pretty. So maybe we'll do the glitter with that design, and we'll try to do that next week sometime. And then I'll show y'all the little effect that it made. Okay, so I'm just gonna dry this black real fast, and then we're gonna go on and put the white on top. I apologize. So I'm just gonna run my hands, see if I see like wet spots. My hand already had black paint, but the part, my finger that's clean, I'm just checking it. Everything feels good, dry. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this white paint, the Snow Owl. I'm gonna find what I did with, there's my other paintbrush. What did I do with it? Me and my little paint stirrer. Okay, so you always want to make sure if you're using any kind of chalk paint, chalk synthesis paint, clay paint, whatever it is, just stir it up because a lot of times those sediments kind of settle on the bottom of the can. So I'm gonna see if there's any more questions before we start again. Kelly, I was using a mix of hot and cool air. So my hair dryer has that blast for the cool air and I have warm. So I'm just putting it on that and then blasting it with cool every now and then. That way it doesn't get like too hot, sorry. Oops. Okay, so now we're just gonna take the white paint and I am gonna paint over the top of the whole sign. Now, depending on if you want this like a stark white or if you want it to look more rustic, you can decide how you're gonna put this paint. You can kind of keep it like really light. You see how it's heavy right here? So that would be more stark white, of course, and over here it's a little bit lighter. But the thing is, wherever your words are, if you keep it like this, you just do a dry brush like that and you leave all that black coming through, what will happen is it will look almost like you're like double visioned. Like it will look like a 3D effect and it won't look good at all. So if you decide to have that kind of dry brush look, just make sure at least where your words are real covered like this, and then it's kind of blended out from the words. Sorry, I just joined. How long did you let the paint cure on board? I just painted this like probably an hour ago, so we're gonna hope that it doesn't fill up. We're just gonna fill really slowly. Now, I don't suggest doing that. I suggest like batching your work, of course, and one day, you know, sand everything and maybe paint, and then just wait a day or two and then start applying your stencils and painting your boards. Especially when it's like an order that's due, you don't want to have to like redo it. But let me put my phone back down so I'm not shaking you guys, giving y'all a headache. With it being summer, we have been so busy. We're on the go all the time. So I'm finding myself doing a bunch of stuff just last minute, just because. Which is nice because you know the kids grow up so fast, so. What I'm doing, you don't really want to go over, you know, where you just painted with the paint as it's drying. So I'm just trying to put a good coat down. I'll dry this a little bit and then I'll come back with like another coat of paint too. And I like to call this first coat, it's like if you're making a cake and you have like a crumb coat, it's kind of messy and stuff, but when you come back and add the next coat, it will look a lot better and smoother, so. Dries super fast, so it doesn't take too much going on there. And I like to go at it with a pretty light hand, and I'm just barely dipping any in there. So we can still have that fun, more rustic look. Now I like to drag it in from the edges like this, and then just feather it out. And then what we're gonna do to kind of make sure that everything is even is after we dry it, when we have enough, you know, white down that we like, we'll take the sanding, the fine sander that I showed you guys, and just sand over the sign to give it a nice, pretty look. And this one's gonna get a frame as well. So it'll be a stained wood frame on this one. Now, I did give this file away yesterday, and I picked 3 winners in the group. I only had 1 contact, so if you guys try to win the file, just check to see if maybe your name was drawn as a winner. And if I don't hear from the other 2, then I will give it away again. How about Sunday? I'll give them until Sunday to let me know. Okay, so we're gonna dry it. I'm gonna check for questions again. My little sanding block, which hopefully I really need to get another one because this one has like lots of fun colors on it. But the brush I'm using is an S50. So I'm just gonna take my sanding block and sand over this. And guys, you're doing this before you pull the stencil, because what will happen is if I go ahead and pull up the stencil now, there's black paint underneath there, right? And we want it to be really crisp. But what's gonna happen is if I pull it up and then sand it, all of this white dust is gonna attach to where our black paint is, and we don't want that to happen. So just sand it now. Go ahead and get your corners. And then I'll use a microfiber cloth. Let me grab it. And it just picks up any dust that's still on the board. Just go over it like this and pull off any dust. And say at this point you want it to look like really old, like barnwood. So maybe you want to like dry brush some browns or different colors on there. You could do that too at this point and then just sand again. The sanding just really helps the paint look smooth. So even if you weren't doing this like kind of old look, even if you had it like a really stark white, like a clean, crisp white, you would still want to sand and get your paint really smooth and then put another layer of paint on. Okay, I was trying to see if there was any other questions, but I don't see any. Okay, so now we're just gonna take our, I'm using these little tweezers. You can use whatever you have. And I might grab something else because these are actually like a little bit pokey. And just pull these little pieces up. I had let Mason borrow my weeding ring that I was using when I was making a sign, and he ran off with it. So that really helps a lot though, guys. It's just like one of those little fingernail polish holders, but it helps keep track of all of your pieces of vinyl so you don't have to hold them all. Sorry guys, I was getting a call. You can see that the black is like really crisp. The lines are, even though we have like a really rustic looking background, it's super crisp. And Dad, you were calling me and you're watching. So what do you need? My dad called me, guys. Hopefully you guys can still hear and he's not calling to tell me, hey, you're talking to yourself. Let's see. The board that I'm using is blonde wood. I believe that's what that one is. Okay. So do you remember like at the very beginning I had told you guys that I had, the way that had sanded this little cow head was to let some of the brown show through in the background. And I love that because it makes it just look that much more, you know, rustic or old. So the board was stained first and then painted black. I really need to get my other little weeding tool. I like tweezers, but I'm so used to using those dental picks. Guys, do y'all have any questions about doing the PVPP that I can answer while I'm on here? Because I can check and see if you guys are asking anything. Can you post the video after? Yeah, it's gonna be on here. It'll stay on the group page, and then I'll also just save it and put it on my YouTube page as well. So you guys can find me on YouTube at Melissa Martini Designs. Yes, baby. In just a little bit, not right now, okay? Yeah. Okay. So even these little areas where it's just so fine, you don't have any problems because you did the paint vinyl paint pill method. I need my little dental pick. I'll talk to him, yeah, after I'm done. So who enjoys making signs? Like even if you're not doing an order, do you ever just, you know, come up with your own little design and just make something to make it? Because it's kind of relaxing to be creating something. And have any of you guys tried out the wet drippy paint method yet? Or the blending tutorial that we did? Because I'd love to see your work that you're doing. If you're, you know, trying some of these fun things, you'll have to share your projects with me.
Sounds fun to make.
Mm-hmm. Mason likes making signs.
It's just the only part I like is just the painting.
He likes painting. He doesn't like peeling all the vinyl up though.
That would take forever.
So y'all can see it. And so it's gonna get a wooden frame on it, but it's fun. It was quick and easy. The stencil that I'm using today is the Aura Mask 813. But I'll use 651 or 631, use whatever I have on hand. I mean, even if you have contact paper on hand, it works fine. If you guys want me to do one next week with contact paper instead, I will, just to show you. I love 813, just so you guys know. It's like my favorite, but I know some people have a love-hate relationship with it, so just find what works for you. Just, you know, what happens with me, or what happens for me doesn't always happen for everybody. Let me see. Lynn, take your Silhouette 1 out of the box. That thing is awesome. The Silhouette 1 and Silhouette 2 have to be like the best machines. Silhouette 3, I have, and it drives me crazy. So don't feel behind. The software's changed, but we do software tutorials all the time. I can help you out. It cuts the same, you'll be fine. Let's see what else. If you're having a problem, Sheila, with the stickiness from your design, I would probably try the 631 or the 813 instead of 651. But like on this one, I had already sanded it to where you could see the brown through, so that part wasn't like a worry or concern for me, but I don't really ever have any problems with it. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. So the picture is of a cow. It's like a silhouette. I know it's kind of hard to see. Someone had told me that it looked like a state, so it's like one of those ink block tests. Let me see what else it is. And yes, I'll post my YouTube link. And Janet, I created the cow image. Why not paint the background sand, then paint the letters, pictures versus this way? Lacey, you could do it either way. So this is just showing people different ways to do it. So you could do it as a stencil or you could do it as PVPP. Personally, I think if you're only using 2 colors, PVPP is the easiest. If you're gonna do like multi-colors, then doing a stencil is a better idea. But it's always a personal preference. Rebecca, you said what do those letters stand for? Which letters? Oh, PVPP. So it stands for paint, vinyl, paint, pill. So you paint the background all black first. You place your vinyl like you guys saw me do on here. You paint the black again, and then you peel off your vinyl. Tamara, I do have a tutorial on making the frame on my blog. So I'll post that in the video description as well. I'll try to make sure that I was... You're so fun, Dad. Did you hear the phone ring or did you just see it go blank? You are funny. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope y'all have an amazing Friday. Oh, one more question. Sorry, guys. Wise Owl paint I sell. So if you PM me, I can help you to order that. And I'm offering free shipping right now, too. The paint that was in the background is Olympic Assure. It's black, flat black paint. And then the white is the Wise Owl paint. And yes, it was stained first. Evan, I stained it. I painted the black. I sanded it to try to have some of the stain show through. And then we put the stencil and stuff on there. Okay, I think that's all, guys. So I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.